I'm Derek Wheatley, and welcome to episode 64 of the Weekly podcast. Thank you very much to Kitch Doom for last week's show, for coming on and talking about her art and her filmmaking. I put a clip up today, which is Saturday, about her talking about her film that she actually sent to me in a message and I watched. She's not allowed to show it publicly yet because it hasn't been shown on all the film festivals, but she's really good. You can follow her on Instagram over there. Subscribe to our YouTube if you would. Just click it if you're watching this video. Have a click there. And our Live and Joyful will return at some point. Not sure when, but it will. But now, let me introduce my guest this week. She is the owner of Transformed Health and Fitness, and her name is Ciara Healion. How are you, Ciara?
I'm good, Derek.
Okay.
How are you?
I'm okay. Let's get into it, all right? Because we have a thing to share. You and I have to share this. This is take two. I've been through the mill in the last hour. Ciara has been a legend to step up again for us. We recorded the full episode. It was great. We had a little chat. Oh, it was brilliant. We had a little chat afterwards. We were giving ourselves pats on the back. It was all good. And then I realized that there was a problem with the sound. And sure enough, I text Ciara, and I didn't expect her to immediately reply and say she could do it again. And I'm very thankful, Ciara.
You're more than welcome.
You have a lot of patience. I have had a cup of tea. Have you had any thing to drink?
We're going to pass on that one. Move on to the next
that's fair. That's fair. So definitely, I've had a cup of tea. That's all we can confirm. But look, it's a bit annoying. It's the first time it's actually happened to us. So I was really wanted to get Ciara's episodes out on Wednesday, and I wasn't expecting the quick turnaround. But I'm really happy that Ciara has agreed to do it again. We wanted to put it out there because I didn't want to be pretending, I didn't know that. Oh, really? Oh, that's, I'm not that good of an actor. So, but you know some of the questions that are coming, so it's a little bit less unnerving, I guess. So can we go again? A short history of your upbringing, please, Ciara.
Okay, so I was born in Ireland. Okay. And my parents, when I was around 3 years of age, my parents separated. So we're talking early 80s. So it was a bit of a shock, I think, to everybody. But moved to England with my mother and lived there permanently till I was around 18. Now, I would come home every holiday. So every summer, Easter, Christmas, all of that jazz, we would come home and spend time with my cousins, with my aunties and uncles. And it was brilliant. That was brilliant. But then we'd have to go back to England. And I suppose, like lots of people, I've heard some of them on here, when you're a child and you're Irish, especially during the Troubles, growing up in England, you get bullied and picked on and stuff like that. And then when you live in England and you have an English accent, regardless of being Irish, when you come back to Ireland, the kids pick on you then for being English. So that was an experience, fun times.
It's quite strange, like, because I could, like, even though I would definitely condone that kind of thing, the Irish English thing, but you can see where there might be a bit of hassle there. And I moved between Dublin and Athlone, and I was getting stick for having an Athlone accent. It's a little bit different. Like, there's not so much of a history there, you would think. So you said you moved a bit around England, though, didn't you?
I did. I was. We kind of moved a lot, I suppose. I've been to lots of different schools. So I was the new girl in lots of different schools. So not only was I Irish, I was also the new girl a lot. So that was fun times too.
That's difficult. That's very difficult, that is. Yeah. So when did you first become aware of mental health?
I suppose my answer is probably going to be different this time than it was the first time. But I suppose I became aware of mental health. It was a bit different back then. I suppose we're talking 20, 25 years ago.
Yeah.
People didn't really talk about mental health, and it meant different things to different people. Now people talk a lot more, which is what's needed. People do need to talk to each other and stuff. But I was, as you know, 14, maybe 15, 16, I kind of started looking after myself. So I had a bit of a toxic relationship with somebody, and then found myself living on my own, looking 100% after myself by the age of 16. So I was going to work, trying to make money, pay the bills, electricity, stuff like that. And I think back then I didn't really know what was going on. I was angry and I was sad and anxiety. And looking back on it, that definitely did. I suppose it was super low time in my life. It definitely did affect my mental health. I suffered with anxiety. I was worried a lot about like silly things, I suppose, when you're that age, about like how are you going to pay your rent or electricity and stuff like that, when everyone else was going off to college. So looking back, yeah, for sure, it was a super low time in my life. But then in the same breath, I wouldn't change any of it now, because it made me the person that I am, and very resilient. So it's
like we talked about it already, but this idea of anxiety, you know, and that whole thing of like a 16-year-old going through anxiety, and maybe the anxiety that a 16-year-old might normally have would be, you know, whether it's boys or girls, or you know, they might have you know, even pimples on their face that they're worried about. And you were going through a complete, a kind of a grown-up life at that age of 16 is kind of extraordinary. But like you said, the idea of not taking it back because of how resilient you realize, I guess you realized you were then.
I also think, I suppose, to anybody really that's going through hard times, it's just a chapter in your life. It's not the full story. It's just a chapter, and you can grow and move forward. Might be a lot harder than it would have been for somebody who had more support, I suppose, or more money or stuff like that. But you can still make it.
Yeah.
It's just a little bit harder, but you learn along the way.
Yeah, I guess actually a technical question for you. How are you sitting in front of a window? Because how am I going blue? I'm like literally going blue on my screen in front of me. Are you in front of a window?
No, there's a wall behind me.
No, but like in your face, like what's in front of you?
Oh, a hoop light.
Ah, I see. That's what I have to get. Because my mom was saying that I need more lights, and I put a light up over here, and it doesn't seem to be doing anything. And the problem with it is, it's like a spotlight. So every time I look at it, it's like, I know I shouldn't look at it, but I keep looking at it, and it's blinding me every time.
Don't look at the light.
I don't know. Yeah, it's like that time when Donald Trump came out of the eclipse, I think it was, and he walked out of the White House, and it's like everybody said, it's on the news and everything, don't look directly in the sun, and he looks directly into it as soon as he walked out. That's like me every 5 minutes looking over into the light. I need to fix up this light situation. So we're going to be talking about physical fitness, and obviously in relation to mental health as well, because it all ties in together. It's all connected. When did physical fitness become a part of your life?
Very, very early on, I was into sports, and I suppose athletics, basketball, stuff like that. So for me, going from school to school and being the Irish girl in the school, I do remember there was thousands of people in the school, and I was the only one with the name Ciara, but nobody could ever get it right. so yeah, I've been called everything. But anyway, sports was a massive outlet for me. I was very good, luckily for me. I was good at sports. I was always really, really fast. So I used to go to these schools and break all their track records and stuff like that. I just naturally, I could catch, I could throw, good hand-eye coordination and stuff like that. So that was a savior for me, I suppose, growing up.
Yeah.
Because you could be the new girl in school, but if you're the new girl in school who's really good at a sport, then suddenly you find yourself on all the teams and you make friends that way. So for me, that was my saving grace growing up. And then later on in life, I became a chef.
Yep.
Many moons ago. And the stress of chef, and I loved it at the time, but the stress of it's a very stressful job. And I would find a lot, I suppose I would get angry or stuff with the stress, and I'd go to the gym. And the way I used to deal with it was I would run or lift weights or something like that, just to get rid of the stress. And it always worked. I could walk into the gym in a terrible mood and leave an hour and a half later and been flying for.
Would you find part of the sport, I suppose, or the sports that you did, was it just the actual sport, or the activity of it, or was there the human side to it as well? Did you obviously in team sports that goes without saying because it's part of it, but even in something like CrossFit or something, was that a major part for you as well?
the physical side, like making friends and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
just chatting,
Massive.
getting out. Yeah.
That in the beginning, that was massive, and that's probably why I would really try hard when I was younger, just to fit in. But that's how I was able to fit in with lots of different people. With the likes of solo sports and stuff like CrossFit, yeah, for sure. You go, for me anyway, you go to the gym and you want to go and you want to maybe get rid of stress. That's why I go, sort my head out, stuff like that. But you meet people in there with the same mindset, and they're very positive.
Yeah.
And it's like, I suppose, your own little tribe of people that keep pushing you and stuff. So yeah, definitely. For me anyway, definitely.
Yeah, I'd be the same actually. Would you have been quite competitive?
I still am.
Okay.
I still am. I can't help myself. I have a cousin, and I train with my cousin, and the two of us we're insane.
Is this what would you be training in? Would it be weights or what kind of thing?
It could be anything. We want to compete on any sort of level. We will try and compete, but it's great because we push each other.
Yeah.
Like she's done CrossFit with me a few times, and who could lift the heaviest, who could do this, whatever. And it's not ideal because your form is more important, and it's not a competition at the end of the day. You do it for you. But when you're super competitive, sometimes there's a little demon inside you saying faster.
Yeah. Oh, look, I am not. Like the way you describe yourself is you've always been sporty, like you say, and you've always been good at those particular kind of the sports that you pick up, and the competitive thing. I've never been any of those things, but I think what is really great, and I'm sure, like we chatted about it before the last recording, even about the idea of trying things out, because there isn't necessarily competitive nature to everything, like, I mean, in the sense that, like, you don't have to go into a sport competitive. Some people think you have to be competitive, you have to be like driven or like have this massive ego, and it's not about that. I keep hitting the table with under there, but it's not about that. So when I kind of have gone through certain sports, and some haven't suited me and some have, and I think, would you agree that it is important to kind of try out different sports?
Oh, for sure. Like, I can only talk to you, I suppose, about my own competitiveness, and that's just something that I have.
Yeah.
But it's super important for people to try different things. I completely get that people don't want to lift weights. Some people don't want to lift weights, and that's fine. We're all different. We all come from different backgrounds and stuff. I do think it's important for people to find something that they like. Be it, we've already spoke about this, maybe they want to go for a cycle, maybe they want to go for a walk, maybe they want to hike, maybe they want to do CrossFit. They might want to dance in their kitchen when no one's looking. Do something, but the key, I feel, to your health and your fitness is to find something that you love doing. It should never be a chore. You should never think, oh my God, I have to go to this class today. Then it's the wrong thing for you. Then try something else.
Yeah.
It could be dance, anything you want to do.
And there's so many options there, and we will talk about your one-on-one coaching as well, because that obviously ties in with what we're talking about. There are other options that you don't have to walk into a gym of 50 people, which it's very daunting for people. It's very daunting for me. And I, like, when I talk about competitive nature, and you see people on different paths. Like I started jiu-jitsu when I was 35. So it's 3 years. I think I'm doing it just over 3 years. So 35. And there was no end goal. I wasn't thinking I want to get to black belt as quick as I can. I want to learn this particular choke and catching and everyone. It was never to do with that. It was about I was rebuilding everything after like the really tough mental health problems that I had. So the idea was to go in there, and for the hardest thing at the start was just to talk to people. It wasn't even like, most people's worries is that someone's going to be sitting on top of your chest trying to choke you. That's an very, very understandable worry. But the idea for me was to walk in there and do it. Now, I suppose the points that we're trying to get across is that it doesn't have to be that intense of a start into something. Like you said, go for a cycle. It's just you and the bike, or go for a walk. It's just you and your dog, maybe. That kind of idea is just to get up and do something good, because again, it's that whole idea, and I've talked about it before in here, and I like talking to people who have their own fitness businesses, or they're really into fitness, about the impact that it has on the mood.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. For me, I have to do something.
Yeah.
If I don't do something, it could be anything, like go for a run, anything. My whole mood changes.
Mm.
There's a family member actually that says she can tell from the second I walk into a room if I've been training or if I haven't trained for a while. She said I'm a completely different person. So yeah, for
Yeah.
me, definitely it really helps.
Yeah, and like, the idea, there is another the other thing about, because you train in a few different things and I train in a few different things, and it's the idea of uh, remembering, because you do want to help your mood an awful lot. Obviously, that's especially if you're feeling down, you want to get out there, but also to remember as well that the body needs to rest, and needs to recuperate, and to kind of, it might take a little while. Like, and I look, the fact you've been training since you were a kid, you know your body so well.
Mm.
But would you agree that would for somebody who's maybe someone's listening to this, 25 years of age, for example, they start training, going into it hard, like they're not going to know their body as well, and that's when the problem's going to rise.
Oh, there's definitely overtraining can definitely be an issue for people that train a lot and
Yeah,
train hard. The magic happens when you rest, actually,
yeah,
and that's when the magic happens. So when you're training, you're causing, if it's weights or whatever, you're causing micro tears into your muscles, which is good because when they rebuild themselves, they become stronger.
mm,
But they rebuild themselves when you're resting.
yeah,
Yeah. So for someone who does want to get super fit, or they are going out running or training for, I don't know, a triathlon or a half marathon or whatever, you really need to rest.
mm,
The rest days are just as important as the training days. Now, when I say rest, for someone that's at that kind of fitness level, you don't need to be lying down on the couch all day.
mm,
You can go out for a walk, keep moving,
yeah.
but you definitely need days off where you're not training.
Yeah, and like you say though, you'll feel better for it. It's like I at the weekend I'll do one run in either of the days, and the other day is a rest day. And when on a Monday I start again, whatever it is, like when the gym's there, we have, you lift weights or whatever, you roll. You do feel all of a sudden you're thinking, oh, this is actually way easier than Friday, and it's, yeah. And then sometimes you don't even think, well, it's because of the rest that you had, it's got a weird thing. But listen, Ciara, I'm going to read an advert, and I will say that I read this in the last episode and it was Shakespearean. I don't think it's going to be as good as that this time.
It was really good for anyone
Oh,
that's
thank you.
you
Thank you
did
for
good.
thank you for backing me up there. Okay, let's go. Fusion Training Center, Monksland, Athlone, a place to train in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, kickboxing, martial arts, and CrossFit. A great atmosphere with experienced coaches and a real sense of community. If you want to join the team, find us on Facebook at Fusion Training Center or drop in for a chat. Fusion Training Center, train like a warrior. This is okay, wasn't it?
That was really good, yeah.
Yeah. Wasn't quite as good as the last one, but I'm a tough judge of my own stuff. But so I know all about this subject now, which I didn't know an hour and a half ago. But this is very interesting to me though, because of what I learned, I guess. What is Pilates?
So I'll probably give you a different answer again, but Pilates is, I suppose, a work program or a number of movements. 35 is the original number, created by Joseph Pilates, who was a man.
Mm.
So it's not just for women. A man actually created it for everybody. It strengthens you from the inside out. So it's about having proper alignment. So proper alignment with your pelvis, with your spine. It works on balancing your muscles. So you might be stronger one side or whatever, but it works on balancing both sides of your body. It works on mobility and movement and stuff like that. So it's basically strengthening your core. Mm. Which is your front and your back. So sometimes people think of core and they just think, oh yeah, their abs. It's their front and their back. It's like your whole trunk. So if you were to forget about your arms and your legs, it's everything there. It strengthens everything from the inside out. It's incredible.
And we did talk about this. There is pictures of you doing Pilates, obviously, on your website and things like that. But there's the picture where you're in the kind of V shape. If people do CrossFit and home workouts and stuff, they'll know like what V ups are. It's kind of, you're kind of basically balancing on your tailbone almost, really, isn't it? It's kind of that, yeah. So, and it looks spectacular, obviously, because I would be like, I can't get anywhere near that. But we do like try to rush ahead. Everybody does. Everybody thinks like, well, give me a couple of weeks and I'll do that. Like, but it's not just like that, or it's not like that. But this idea of core is interesting because I know we touched on the whole thing about the core is involved in pretty much everything, but it is a part of the body that is kind of neglected at times.
I think so. I think, well, I was guilty of this myself. Before I did Pilates, I would do sit-ups, like crunches, all that kind of jazz, planks, just to try and get like my abs, concentrated on my abs. But I never really thought about the muscles in my back or my internal muscles as well. Our cores have completely gone to sleep in us. And I said before, it's the whole thing of we sit down a lot now, be it at work, in the car, watching TV. So our cores have gone to sleep. There's all of us, including myself, we start to slouch forward. But what we need to do is strengthen the muscles from the inside out so that we can wake our cores up. It's very important. Yeah,
and you were actually doing a class with people who were yesterday who were sitting down a lot in their jobs, wasn't it?
I was a group of travel agents, lovely group, travel counselors, lovely group of ladies. And we said we'd just do it. They're doing like a wellness program. So we said we'd give it a go and we'd see how they got on. And it was brilliant. So it was all chair-based moves, some Pilates, some stretching, some moves that I use in the clinic to rehabilitate people and stuff like that. And it was really good. It was 45 minutes. There was some ladies that turned up in their sports gear, but there was other ladies there that were there in their work clothes because they were at work. They just took the 45 minutes, didn't have to leave their desks. It was all on their computers, and we did exercises seated. We also stood up, but it was nothing crazy. Like we got warm, but we didn't break a sweat or anything like that. It was all about opening up their bodies and making them feel much better, and showing them stretches and stuff that they could do themselves when I wasn't around, which would counteract, I suppose, a lot of the negative effects that we have now from being seated all the time.
So I guess you'd recommend that for everyone though, wouldn't you? Because of it's sitting down all the time is obviously one thing. And then the idea of, like we mentioned, about being on your phone or being on your iPad, whatever it might be, you're reading stuff. Our postures are have kind of given up with us a little bit. And, and I guess that's like tying back into the Pilates is something that helps that.
Yeah, for sure. We're designed to move. Our bodies are designed to move, and we're moving less and less and less. And some people, they don't have the time, the space or whatever to do it on the mat. Well, we all have the time. I suppose it's about prioritizing, but they feel like maybe they don't have the time. So to do something at your office desk, it's super easy. I actually made a video that I've pre-recorded. It's only about 12, 13 minutes long. That is for sale. If anybody wants it, just send me a message. They can do it in their office and stuff like that by themselves, or there is the option for people, if they want, to contact me and we can organize like a group. But it's very, very important that we do stretch and start to move our bodies. Like, we're not designed to sit still all the time. And the thing with the phones, I have clients are getting younger and younger and younger. My youngest client's 13 years of age, who's already suffering with massive problems with their neck because they're constantly looking down on their phone. Now, I'm not saying to people, don't look at your phone. Just don't look down at it all the time. Look up. Look at the side.
And that whole thing of the way the muscles work when I'm reading or on my phone, and when you're not conscious of it, you start to kind of drift in. So like the body kind of drifts in on itself. So it's like almost shell, like you've turned into and then you kind of realize it and you stretch out. And there is, a strain on your, whether it's your neck, your neck. For me, it's would be kind of mid to lower back where it kind of comes on a bit. And it's, if what you were showing the travel counselors, I guess if you're doing that all the time, the awareness then is just in your conscious. There's no subconscious kind of thought. It's just there all the time because if you're working on all the time, it's going to be in your mind all the time.
Yeah, it's a mind-body connection.
Yeah.
So it's there, but it's also, everybody does it, so don't feel bad. I do it myself. When you're looking at the computer, whatever, we're hunched and we start to get smaller and smaller. It's your body's getting tired, but everything in the front, if we stay like this for long periods of time, all your muscles in the front, in your neck, up across your chest, they get shorter and they start to pull you around. So the muscles in your back, everything works in pairs. Okay, so the muscles in your back, they're meant to be friends with the muscles in the front. So we'll just be nice and easy here. We're not going to get into names. But they don't become friends because the ones at the front get tight.
Yeah.
No one likes anyone that's really tight, right? So
no.
Fall out. They fall out. The muscles in the back, they get overstretched. They get tired. They're trying their best to pull you up the way you're meant to be. They're just not able. So with Pilates or even the chair movements that I do, it's about strengthening up the people, trying to open them up, making them aware of what way they should be sitting, or at least moving. If we were to do this once a day, it would make a massive difference.
Yeah. How long have you been doing Pilates?
I've been doing, well, I did my first Pilates class years and years and years ago, but I've been an instructor about 3 years, or around 3 years.
There's been a noticeable increase in the interest and awareness around Pilates. Have you noticed that?
There has, and it's like, with myself as well, I suppose. It's brilliant that there is more of an interest. The Pilates is prescribed by doctors all over the world for people with lower back pain, people that are suffering from bad posture and stuff like that, to try and help improve their posture. Also, I think more and more people are doing it, and word of mouth is starting to spread through to people to say, like, oh, I was suffered with my back for years, now I feel good. Or some people, they don't do it for that. Some people just do it for their mind. I suppose it's they might feel relaxed for doing it. It could be stress relief, but it's really good. There is more and more people getting involved, and there's more men getting involved, which is fantastic.
Very good. That is
really good.
That is very rewarding, and I suppose the whole thing about going back to yoga, and it was kind of considered, I suppose, back in the 80s and 90s even, that it was a kind of a woman's thing to do, and men weren't to do it. And thankfully men copped on a bit and decided, well, maybe it's a bit silly to kind of rule something out altogether. But so another thing that you do, Ciara, is physical therapy. What kind of treatments do you offer?
So it's hands-on treatment. So it's deep tissue massage, soft tissue manipulation. So I'm talking about like muscles, ligaments, tendons. I do dry needling, sports cupping, strapping and taping, pregnancy massage, which I forgot to mention in the last one. Do that too.
That nobody will ever hear it. It's gone. It's gone forever.
It's gone. So it's all like hands-on therapy. Not just for injuries. I suppose people sometimes think of deep tissue sports massage and they think, oh, it's only for people that are into sports. Yeah. It's not. It's for your soft tissues. We all have muscles, ligaments, and tendons, so it's for everybody, for all different reasons.
Yeah, and it's unbelievable. Like I absolutely love it. I haven't been in a while, but I did have a number of ones on my neck and my back and my shoulders before. I had one full body one before, and that whole, it's not just for, like you said, it's for a number of reasons. And for me, I did have a tightness in my shoulders and neck, but when I go in there, I'm anxious, and it's not because of, look, it's nothing to do with it's more to do with being in a new place more than anything normally, and you're getting up in the massage table and all that, and the music is on, and you're a bit disorientated, especially if you've got an anxiety disorder going on underneath it. But when I have always come out of it so relaxed, and it's like the relaxed body and the relaxed mind kind of situation. You come out and you're just like, that was completely worth the kind of effort it took to get in there. And I actually had a cupping session there for my first ever cupping session. It was in between the lockdowns there at one point, and it was with James, who trains with us, and he does some massage therapy and cupping in there. Didn't know what to expect. Had no idea. I had seen pictures, obviously, but again, when I came out of there, and I had a lot of I think it was on, you know, when you think you're this side is sore, maybe the right side, but the left side is where it was much more red, you know, it was more inflamed than that. But honestly felt the benefit of it. And I was skeptical of it just because, I don't know, we are kind of skeptical of these kind of what we consider to be new treatments over here. New in a relative sense. They've been here a while, obviously, but they've not, they weren't invented here, I suppose. But how did, like, the cupping thing? The cupping thing is, like, people probably, like I was saying, probably don't know what is that. What does that help?
The cupping's brilliant. It's really, really good. So what it does is there's different forms of cupping. I do dry sports cupping. Okay. So what it involves is I have these little plasticky cups. Well, they're silicone actually, and you put them on. So what it does is it lifts your skin up away from everything. So it really helps with lymphatic drainage. When I'm treating people, I like to use a mixture of everything. So I could be doing hands-on stuff, or I'm doing deep tissue. So I'm pushing everything off or pushing through the knots. With the cupping, you're going at it from a different angle. It's sucking everything apart. Okay, it brings in fresh blood into the area. It can help with congestion in your tissues, stretch your fascia. The cupping, it's really good. I like to mix it up, use it in my treatments with dry needling and hands-on therapy, and I find it gets really good results on people.
And you look really cool with it as well, because it kind of looks like you're hard, like, you know, when you got all those circle things on your back, like Michael Phelps had, and you're like, that was the first time I saw cupping. Was I think it was Phelps or one of the swimmers around that time, and they'd always have those. Yeah. Do you remember? And the marks, and it was like, I think obviously one of the commentators explained it at the time, but and it just, like I said just there a second ago about not knowing what something was, and you're kind of going, oh, that's a bit, I'd say that's a fad, you know, that kind of thing.
I thought that myself years ago. I've seen, is it Gwyneth Paltrow come out of someone, and she had all these big round marks in her, and I thought, here. But it's actually, it's brilliant.
Yeah, I can honestly say with just one session I've had, and I definitely I'll have it again. I definitely felt the benefits of it. With people who train a lot, like yourself, and I train quite a bit. So, would you recommend that kind of treatment? Not so much cupping, we'll say, but just like deep tissue or soft tissue massage. Would you recommend that kind of like fairly regularly?
I would. Human nature is I'm guilty of this myself, is to wait till something goes wrong to then go to someone to try and get it fixed. It's better to go to someone every now and again so that they can work through your tissues so that you don't end up with that problem in the first place. Yeah. So I do have people that come, like some wonderful clients. They could be a triathlete, could be some CrossFit people, could be MMA, whatever. They come, and sometimes they come just to get a rub down because they're feeling a little bit stiff, but there's nothing's gone wrong yet. But I can find stuff on them, guaranteed, that's hiding in the cupboard, nearly waiting to jump out and ruin their training with an injury or something like that. So it's really good to get at that as soon as we can, to get rid of that so that they can keep on going. It's also really good for muscle health to stretch out or lengthen out your muscles as well, to stop other issues that could crop up.
Yeah, and
definitely,
we do treat, like, you know, the way we talk about treating ourselves in a number of ways, like whatever you're into, whether it's, you know, you buy a lot of books online or, you know, clothes, DVDs, like that's a brilliant way to treat yourself, to kind of put your money aside, you know, whether it's once a month, once every 3 months, whatever it is you can afford. But like, especially if you do train, that should be a way that you should be kind of prioritizing to treat yourself.
I think everyone should do it, not only people that train, because we only get one body.
Yeah.
So if that starts to go wrong, then you can have the nicest car, the nicest clothes, the nicest hairdo, but if you're in pain, what's the point in having a nice car outside? You can't hardly get up the stairs. Like, I think we need to look after our bodies much better than we do. I think people look after their cars better than they look after.
That's probably very fair. And the other thing about it is, you know, there's nothing kind of, you know, hardcore about powering through an injury. There really isn't. There's this idea, this kind of macho ego kind of thing where you're like, yeah, I've got a bit of a problem, whether it's, whatever it is, your calf or something, I've got a problem with my calf. No, I'm still going to run my usual 20K. I'll be grand. That kind of idea where you have to power. It seems it's only going to set you back even further than it would.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. The more damage you do, the longer it takes to repair.
Yeah. And that that injury that they have at the time could be just something small, could be just something like a knot in the calf, and you just need Ciara to work it out, and then all of a sudden you're back and there's no problems down the line. It's just, it always kind of, you hear it in kind of gym environments. There's always one or two that will be like that, and you're just kind of like, well, just go and get it looked at, and then move on after that. I've never felt that kind of thing where, and maybe, oh no, I won't go into it. It's not it's not this is not a therapy session.
Keep it in.
But no, it's going to go off one there. And do you know what? I was like, because there'll be people listening from the gym and they'll be going, is he talking about me? But no, I'm not going with it.
He's not talking about you.
He's not, but you know who you are. So you're also a personal trainer. When we talk about one-on-one sessions, I know you do more than that, but one-on-one sessions, what are the benefits of a one-on-one session?
Everybody is comfortable, I suppose, doing different things. Like, I've no problem walking into a big class full of people to do a session or whatever, but I can see why people are. Yeah. I can see sometimes people that do one-on-one, they're intimidated by the big groups of people. I get that. Sometimes they're at a different level, or they feel maybe they're at a different level to other people, and they want to start at a different level, I suppose. Other times people just want you 100%.
Yeah,
to themselves, and that's perfectly fine too. Maybe they want more help with their fitness, maybe their mindset around fitness. Maybe it's their eating habits. Maybe they want you on call more. Maybe the times don't suit. I do have clients that wouldn't have a problem walking into a class or being on a Zoom class or whatever, but the times don't suit them. So they come, or I go to them or whatever.
Yeah.
Before COVID, now it's all done on Zoom, at certain times that suit them. So some people just like the whole VIP experience too. It's just them and you can have a bit of crack, and you change the workouts according to the people. I suppose in a group class, you write the class and off you go. One-to-one, you'll have an idea what you're doing, but then I can see if somebody's stiff or sore, if they're not moving right. So you can throw that whole class out the window and go after whatever it is that the person's struggling with on that day. And you can only really do that one-to-one.
Yeah, it's funny because I had it written down, like, with the next question about, do you think it removes anxiety? But it just shows that that's the way I was thinking, in the sense that for a one-on-one session, what would be the benefit for me? And obviously the thing that was on top of my head would be the anxiety. I didn't think about the idea of a one-on-one, having your coach, just you and the coach, being able to ask all the questions you want, having that whole idea of, you don't want to be that person who puts their hand up, like, even as adults, we're still like that. We were like that as kids in class, but we still don't want to kind of stand out in case we ask a stupid question, what we can consider to be a stupid question. They rarely are stupid questions, but that, I the idea of just the one-on-one, and being able to kind of even dip in and out of those things, like, whether it's the workout or the food or a little bit of motivation, digging into your brain about, like, when you are having a tough day, how do you find the motivation to kind of get out of bed? There's so many kind of pluses to it, that I didn't even consider. But actually, now that I mentioned it, when you are having a tough day, Ciara, like, what is your motivation to get out and work out?
I suppose I'm the same as everybody. I've had people say to me before, "Oh, it's easy for you. You love fitness. You're into all that kind of stuff." We have days too where we don't want to work out or train. I do listen to my body. If I really don't want to train, I have the most gorgeous dog, so I have to walk him regardless of what I'm doing in the day. So I'll go for a big long walk with him. I think people put too much pressure on themselves. They get into this rut. I do this anyway. You get into this rut and you think, oh, I don't want to work out, and that day goes into the next day. oh, I don't want to work out, but then you feel bad, and then you're like, oh, I'm talking about myself here now. I think, oh, I'm lazy, and then you start to overeat, and so it just ends up this big cycle. Then you can't be bothered to work out, and I suppose sometimes when I get like that, I need to snap myself out of it.
Yeah.
And the way I do that is go easy on myself. I start working out, and I just say, right, I'm going to do 10 minutes today. But always, once I've done the 10 minutes, I'm in it. I want to do more and more and more. And it's just doing that one little bit to get you going.
Yeah.
And then you're good again because you realize, oh no, I feel great now. Because if I don't work out, I suppose I could be a witch at times if I don't work out. So I have to work out. For my head, for everybody else's safety around me, I need to work out so that I'm happy.
But you know what's interesting, Ciara? Because I have like a different mindset for each thing I do. So if I think about jiu-jitsu, it's like I'll go in and have a chat with the lads, like, you know, and the girls, of course. But like it's that idea of just I go in and have a chat with them. When it comes to running, like running is my favorite thing to do because of the high it gives me afterwards, like that runner's high. And I know, like, I'll go in the morning, say, and I will know when I come back for the rest of the day, I'll just be in a buzzing, like, you know, I'll be in a great mood. That's the perfect reason to get up and do it. CrossFit's kind of, when I go into CrossFit, it's kind of like that's the challenging part for me because I don't know the people in CrossFit as well. I know some of them quite well, but some of the others, because of all the different time slots that everybody kind of swaps around, I don't know them as well. So that's almost like my little bit of working on my anxiety to kind of keep going in and getting better at it. And it's not so much personal bests in there for me, but it certainly is seeing the difference in, we talked a bit about weight, lifting weights and how technical it is and how you can start to see, especially in people who are lifting know what a deadlift is. It's just that idea of just those little mechanics that you need to do it. It's not just leaning down and picking it up. There's a lot more to it. So yeah, and I would be the same as you. Like I might be a bit moody if I don't go in, and I want to be, I want to be not moody because I live with my landlady and I don't want to annoy her, like, because she could throw me out, no problem. And then where do I go? So and like the one thing that was for me was the cycling it was grand. I like it, it's grand, but it's just my transport. I don't see it as a workout. But I got an electric bike on Monday. I think it was Monday. My dad got me an electric bike. And I was cycling the other day, and there's nothing to it. You are moving your legs a bit, but very little. Because it was like you've got 5 gears, and I was like, I'm never going to go up to 5. I always want to work out. Straight away, I was up in 5. I was just like going and cruising now, like 35 kilometers an hour. I hit one point. I was thought, oh, this is the life. But yeah, it's just that kind of idea of finding the different motivation for each one. And there is that thing where people will say, and it's easy for you to get out there. But like I had to push myself at 1.2.
Yeah. I think the key is to find what you like doing.
Yeah.
Nothing should be a chore. You shouldn't be going into any class or any workout thing thinking, oh my God. It should be something that you like doing. Anything.
Yeah.
Anything that gets you moving.
And like, what would you like? This is something I didn't ask you that when we talked before. It was there has to be a point where I don't think you should just try something once and then get out. Because I think with something like lifting weights, I think that's definitely something that people would do. They try it and they'll be like, no, I'm never going to be able to lift that much. I'm not going to do it. I think give it a few goes at least, they kind of build up a bit of idea of what you're supposed to be doing. Would that be kind of something that you can recommend?
I would agree with that. I agree. People need to start slowly. Don't jump in and think just because the person next to you can lift whatever, and they could be 20, 30 years older than you, or it could be a girl, or I don't know. It's you need to start slowly. And I agree, give it time. But I also think if you go into somewhere and you think, no, I hate this, if you instantly know you dread it, try something else, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair. I think there's a certain element of like you being put off by something that you hate anyway. I don't think it's very hard to go back a second time to something you hate. And the girl thing, every guy I've talked to in CrossFit, including myself, has gone into a CrossFit class for earlier, right? And they see a lady across from them, and they're small, maybe slim, and they're lifting twice as much as you. just relax. There's not again, it's that, what is what is it about the kind of idea that we need to compete, especially with the male, male female kind of thing, where why can't we just get under our heads that person could be doing this 7 years?
That they have been doing that a very long time.
Yeah.
If you can lift that kind of weight. So I was going to say it's not like she just went in, or he just went in and started to bang out these massive moves or lifting massive weights. They also were a beginner at one stage.
Yeah.
And they've worked up to that. I think people let their egos get in the way. I've been guilty of this before too, trying to lift stuff because I've seen somebody else do it. And we can't do that. That's how people get hurt. And you need to start slow. You'll get there. You'll get there. Just start slow. I remember working in a gym once, and I'm not going to mention the gym, but I was overhead squatting just at the squat rack. It wasn't a CrossFit gym. It's just a normal gym. And I was just practicing for when I went back into CrossFit, whatever. And then somebody, I'm not going to even mention who it was, somebody asked me in that gym not to do that anymore because someone's going to get hurt.
Oh, interesting.
Not myself, someone else is going to try it. So I think don't try anything like that until you know how to do the moves properly.
Yeah.
And start slow. Technique is form, and technique is the key. If you're going to be doing stuff like that, you have to go to a coach and get your technique right. Low weights.
Oh, I think with weights as well, it's just so risky. Like if you're going to try and run as fast as you can, that's one thing. You'll be out of breath and you'll be coughing a bit. But don't do, like, an overhead squat is the worst thing. And it's the same as like a deadlift. It's just it requires so much technique that you can't just do it. You can't just pick it up. And like even if you do it on an empty bar, it's almost like, well, I'm speaking from experience, by the way. I've never done anything or an overhead squat without or with weights on. Always just an empty bar. I avoid it because I'm worried about my knee. That's my excuse, and I'm sticking to it. But I do it with the empty bar. But even the flexibility within your hips, almost like there's many things that could mess you up and cause you to drop the bar. That's the worry, isn't it?
Many things. But you know what? Now I just, after having a thought, I wouldn't be able to overhead squat now. I think it would be a problem. But when I was doing stuff like that, I then went on and did my Pilates instructor in around the same time. And I was overhead squatting. I had issues. You just reminded me of it there. My hips and my back. I was so tight and caught up. And after doing Pilates for a good few months, most days, because I was practicing for my instructors, the difference in the weights I could lift, and I could squat right down. It was incredible.
I'm going to have to do it. I really am going to have to do it. If you trained with me, you just hear me whinging about my hips and my groin. The whole time, that's all I whinge about. It used to be my knee, but I've strengthened that up through squats, just regular squats. And I've strengthened up through that. But it's just the tightness in my on my hips and groin, and it's I'll notice it. Like if I'm doing jiu-jitsu, we'll say, I'll notice it because someone might push down on one leg and hold the other up like that. And it's not much of a splits for me to kind of let out a yelp. But I will let out a yelp as well. I'm not afraid to do that. And I do have that issue. And that's why I need to work on it. I'm always doing it, that kind of thing. I will. I'll start stretching. But the thing about, what is appealing about Pilates, I suppose it's more active, like the idea of sitting in my rooms just stretching on its own just sounds a bit dull to me. That's just me now, by the way. That loads of people do it, all the time. So the idea of something a little bit more active and would activate the core and help, that kind of thing, was you've said that about the hips now, and now it's going to be in my head. So I'm going to be in your next class.
Planted the seed, yay! No, it is. It's really good.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get it, because it's just I'm getting a bit bored of it now. The hip thing, and it takes me so long to warm them up to get them going for even just random or even just standard squats. It takes me a long time to get down to where I want to go, because it's like warming up. There's another thing I was interested in talking to you about was about meal plans, because it's not something that I do, but it's something that you would definitely promote, I guess.
When I say meal plans, I would promote planning ahead.
That's what did I mean when I said that? Planning meals, maybe. I don't know. Doesn't matter.
just for the interest of this recording, in case it happens again, you froze on me there for a second.
Did I? It still says I'm all right up in the left corner, so we'll keep going. I'm going.
No, we're good. We're good. We're good.
We're not
Just in
going
case
number
we've been
three.
doing-
Oh. No, sorry, but my nerves are gone now. No, yeah, planning ahead when it comes to meals, I guess.
Well, I suppose some people think meal plans and they think of like a 3-week or 21-day set meal plan. Now I do them as well for some people, but I think it's more important to, that's all well and good. If you're going to do that, you're going to do a 3-week meal plan. But then what happens once your coach or I leave or somebody leaves and they don't tell you what to eat? It's more important to learn what to eat. But the best way to get success out of eating healthier is to plan ahead. Definitely. And I think I told you earlier on with me anyway, I eat 90% of the time. I eat really well. I eat as clean as possible. What I mean by that is minimally processed foods. Everything, most of the stuff I eat is fresh, and it looks like a vegetable when I buy it. Like, there's no preservatives that you get from scratch and stuff like that. But if I'm not planning, I will go for whatever's quick and handy. Like I think I told you already, I had half a packet of biscuits there the other day because I couldn't be bothered to cook dinner. I live on my own, so don't nobody panic and think I'm feeding my children biscuits. That's just myself.
It's okay. It's
okay. It's okay. Yeah, we do definitely need to plan ahead. And the way I do it is I cook big batches of food. So I actually cooked a huge big pot of curry here. It's probably enough for 10, 12, I have big pots, 10, 12 portions. But what I do is I cook that ahead and then I freeze that.
Yeah.
And then another day I'll cook something else, a big pot, and I'll eat fresh, whatever's in that pot fresh that night, but then I'll freeze the rest. So in my freezer's loaded now. I can go to my freezer and open it up and there might be 5 or 6 different meals in there that I've cooked fresh, but I've cooked it one time, which means less washing up. It's much easier. It's for me, I was a chef for a long time. Don't particularly like cooking. I think of better things to be doing now, being honest. So and planning ahead.
Yeah. That's what's
key.
What that kind of is a great idea about. It's always there though, like it's always in the freezer, and it's not about like, you know, saying you eat a pack of biscuits because you hadn't got something prepared or whatever. There's also the other thing of, you know, I eat all the same thing, you know, the same dinner, and I maybe 5 times a week, and then there'll be something else at the weekend or whatever. But I do like that, but at the same time, it's a bit, you know, it is a bit boring. Like, so to do what you're doing, it wouldn't be that hard for me. I mean, I've got a couple of dishes. I mean, not many, I'll be honest. But there's a couple in there, and I could do it and build up, like you're saying, like, because I love like things like bolognese with the corn mince rather than the mince. I'm not a vegetarian or anything, but I just like the corn mince. And I said that really defensively for no reason. I'm not a vegetarian, but the corn mince in the bolognese, but like building up, you know, cooking up a big batch of that and putting it in the freezer will be something I should do, and it's so much time you're saving, like, you know,
so much, and it's there.
Yeah,
there it's right there. And now the thing with the biscuits was it wasn't because I had nothing to eat. I was just too lazy to cook.
Oh, the lazy. That's okay. That's fine. I don't mind that.
The lazy, and it happens to everybody. But if you plan ahead, you're setting yourself up for success.
Yeah. But you also mentioned about people who wanted to stick to kind of a healthy meal plan, that they you know, it's about not having the things, just having them available there, because if they're there, you're going to eat them. I mean, the sweet stuff.
For me, I'm a devil. I have no control. So, but I have made peace with this, and that's fine.
Yeah.
So, if I buy cake, I can only get like maybe one single portion. I'll go down to the local shop, get one single one, because if I buy the whole cake, I will eat the whole cake. Now, I don't feel guilty about it because it's just who I am. Like it just happened. But for me, I can't bring it into the house.
Yeah,
the good stuff. But for other people that live in houses where they have kids or they have partners or whoever is in that house, and they do have nice treats, sweets, crisps, whatever it is, it's about changing your environment, really, and not relying on your willpower. So these are proven techniques. I was reading a book about this. Slim by Design is the book. It's a very good book, actually. So you change your environment and you don't rely on your willpower. So it's about putting it away somewhere. So put it up high.
Yeah.
Or put it in a different room or whatever. Because people mindlessly eat. I do it myself. I could, like, where did the packet of biscuits go the other night? I was like, what? they just disappeared. But if they're up high or if they're in a different room and you have to go out of your way to get whatever it is that you don't really want to be eaten at that time, you're making a conscious decision to eat it. Yeah. So it's about it's changing your environment. Also, our portion sizes are way too big. So the way we deal with that, or the way I deal with that, is get smaller plates. Not talking side plates, but kind of in between smaller plates. People tend to drink a lot of fizzy drinks or stuff like that, and they don't count that, I suppose, as eating.
What's the story with what's the story with Diet Coke? Because people always talk about Diet Coke as, you know, it's there's no sugar in it, whatever like that. But that sounds a bit too good to be true.
It contains a sweetener. So I read a lot about this. You could argue both sides.
Okay.
Of this, is it good or is it bad? It's basically it's two proteins that have been linked together to make it sweet. And so when it heats, it unlinks. So if you ever drank a warm can of Diet Coke, it's no longer sweet anymore.
Oh.
But people would argue it's not good for you. It's not natural.
Yeah.
That it's not really good for you. And there is studies to suggest that if you drink diet drinks and stuff like that, your body thinks you have the sugar. So then you crave, but you don't actually have the sugar in you. So then you crave for sugary things. I divil years ago for drinking Diet Coke and stuff like that. I don't like fizzy drinks now.
No.
And the thing about, we went over this before, the thing about changing people's diets, I suppose, people think of the word diet and they think it restriction.
Yeah.
But a diet, to me, is something that you eat. Now, you can have a bad diet.
Yeah.
And you can have a good diet. It's a diet. It's still a diet. So but that's the way I see it. So to have a good diet, you need to eat less processed stuff.
Okay.
And the likes of fizzy drinks and stuff like that, they're processed. We need to eat and drink as natural as possible.
Yeah, I was always that argument to do with Coke, and I was, you know, there are other minerals available, by the way. But there's that idea that
I love Lilt, in case they get sued by Coke. I love Lilt.
Oh yeah, Lilt. God, I haven't heard of Lilt in years. Totally tropical taste that was. Lilt. I don't even know. I can't even remember if I liked it, to be honest. But I remember I liked Sidona.
Oh, I had an addiction.
Yeah.
To all those kind of stuff when I was younger. But the key to success, food-wise, would be start small. Don't try and change everything. You can't change who you are. Like, if you're someone that likes to eat certain things, you can't suddenly wake up Monday morning and be a completely different person. You need to make small little changes. Maybe the first week, week number 1, you're going to drink more water and keep eating the same. Maybe week 2, you're going to try not to eat a packet of crisps every day, eat them every second day. It's small little changes over time, like everything. Take small little steps. Over time, you've gone a really long way.
Yeah, because that whole idea of cutting out like sugar just straight away out of your diet, if you have been taking in a lot of sugar, that could never be workable. It doesn't seem like it could be workable anyway. I mean, I'm sure some people did it. Look, people do everything, you know, but not everybody could do it. I think yo-yo diets and all that is probably arises from it. So there was another question I asked you about when you haven't got a studio as such. I'm talking not in COVID times, by the way, but when this is over, you're on the road, kind of. You do a kind of a Ciara road show, don't you?
I do. I'm on the road. Once COVID is over, I'm on the road. I don't know where it's going to go, being honest. Before COVID, I was teaching in Cunnislee in that lovely church, which I was delighted because I always wanted to get inside that church, and it's very nice. And I was in the Educate Together Centre, the school in Tullamore. I was in the Department of Finance on a Tuesday and a Friday. So I was kind of all over the place. I used to go to clients' houses and train them in their houses for different reasons. Maybe they had kids, they couldn't leave. Maybe they had huge work commitments and it was just quicker for me to drive up with my stuff than leave. There's that kind of stuff. I think after COVID, I'm really enjoying teaching online. So I want to continue to do that. I can see the benefits for people. They don't have to, now obviously, some people like going to the gym and they go to the gym not for, I suppose their main goal isn't fitness. It's more to socialize and to chat people and to get out and meet new people. So it wouldn't really work for them, but it's for like busy mummies who have kids running around in the background or whatever. Online might actually suit some of these people better, or even keep some of these people into fitness that were never there before.
Yeah.
So I want to do the online stuff.
Like another thing is interesting to me about the online things, because I think it'll probably hold on a lot more than people would have, if this had been an experiment. It's just the idea of people, like you say, obviously people with kids, that's a big thing, people who don't have the time to get to a gym or whatever. But even for like, if I was thinking about doing, the Pilates online, where it's, if I go to the gym anyway and I get my, time with people and I get my, whatever it is that I do in there, but then, even on a day when you're just at home, you're chilling out at home, and I'm out in the country and I don't want to charge the old bike up, I could just do it here, and it's that's a kind of a nice idea. I think these kind of classes will carry on indefinitely, and along with obviously people going back out there. I think it's great. Look, they came about because of a bad situation, but I don't think that necessarily means that they're just gonna kind of disappear. Well, I hope they're not anyway. So outside of that, then, Ciara, what do you like to do in your spare time? I bet you it's traveling, is it?
I feel like we've been here before.
Yeah.
I love to travel.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I was going to say something I won't. I love traveling.
Okay.
All around the world. I was lucky enough actually to live in different countries all over the world. And traveled on holidays to many more beautiful places. And I suppose I said it in the last one. When I look back at where I was when I was 16, 17, I actually thank those times for making me into, I suppose, the person I am today. Like I wasn't afraid. I've headed off to some crazy countries by myself with my dive gear and stuff like that, and just headed off. And I wasn't scared because I knew I could always come home.
Yeah.
But it's the resilience of having it harder when I was younger paid off then, and made it able for me in my mind to just head off and everything was going to be fine. That kind of.
Yeah, well, there is a lot of hang-ups about it. Like people traveling. I know I have big problems with traveling because of the anxiety and stuff, just being out of control of situations and things. And the last place I was, Miami, I had an awful time. I just didn't want to be there. And I didn't know what it was anxiety then, but clearly it was. You've been, scuba diving is a thing for you as well, isn't it?
Massive thing. I lived in Australia when I was 25. I went to Australia and I met a girl on a bus. I was going from Canberra to Sydney. I was on my own and I was scared. And I remember I was on the bus and I was crying. Like I didn't know what I was doing. Like, what's going on? I didn't want to come back to Ireland because then people here would be like, "Oh, I knew you wouldn't make it." And you know yourself. This was in my head. Yeah, whether that was the reality is a different story, but this is what I'm in my head was going on. And I met this wonderful girl. Cutting a long story very short, we traveled up the coast, ended up going on a sailboat in the Whitsundays on the Great Barrier Reef, and ended up getting a job on this sailboat and worked on the sailboat. Then I'm always confused with how long I stayed. Probably a year and a half ish. Where I was the chef on the boat and we had a dive instructor, and he came one day and asked me, did I want to learn how to dive? And I was scared, but I did it. And it was brilliant. It changed my life. Like I got big into diving then, and actually went and got my instructors a couple of years later in Mexico, and then worked in Cancun as a dive instructor. And from there, I met a lovely girl in Mexico who, it's just all random. She just walked in and did her dive instructors with me. A Chilean girl, one of my best friends now. Nice. Very, very nice girl. But she got me onto the cruise ships then. So I traveled around on the cruise ships. It's been good. So diving changed my life. It's definitely one of my passions. And something that I want to pursue in Ireland. I've never dove in Ireland because it's so cold.
Yeah, well, that's fair enough. Yeah.
But I will. Once lockdown's over, I'm going
Yeah.
to.
I'm going to save everyone the anecdote I told about me being afraid of alligators in swimming pools. I'm just going to pass over that. The best thing is to pass over that and leave them wondering what is that about. But it's, to be honest, it kind of stemmed from the idea that, yeah, it stemmed from the idea that Ciara was first time diving in the Great Barrier Reef where there is actual danger. That's what I was kind of freaked out by. And you said what about your experience? But you want to go dive with more sharks, which is incredible.
I dove with, now I'm not going to say, oh, I wasn't scared. I was terrified in the beginning. I remember I used to do it as well. I used to swim in the sea and think, I wonder what's under there and what could get me. And it was, for me anyway, all in my head. And you'd be half freaking out thinking, but you don't want to be in the water.
Yeah.
But then I learned to dive and I realized what is under the water. Most of it is very pretty. And I remember being on the sailboat on the Barrier Reef and it was pitch black. And the boys said, let's go night diving. So we got all our equipment, like just have a torch. It's like being in the woods, pitch black. And just as we got in, the boys were like, oh, I hope we get to see sharks. I was terrified.
Why would anyone say that?
Because now I would go and I would hope to see sharks and stuff like that. I've seen loads of sharks, hundreds of sharks under the water. They don't want to eat us. They come and have a little look, but when they figure out what you are, they're gone. You
want to swim in hammerhead sharks, don't you?
I do. I've swam with big sharks before, outside of a cage on purpose. We went to find sharks and done all that kind of stuff. One of my dreams is to dive with hammerheads.
Why hammerheads?
Big school of hammerheads. I have a hammerhead tattoo on my back. I love hammerheads. They're my favorite.
Okay.
They're the most misunderstood shark ever. So sharks have this reputation of being man-eaters. They're going to kill and attack everybody. There's not one documented case of a hammerhead ever killing anybody. Now, I'm not saying biting, but never actually killed. Now, maybe they did. Well, maybe the person couldn't report it or whatever, but there's no documented case of it. So I just think they've got a really bad rep. And they're very misunderstood. And I think they're beautiful. I would love to.
I think they're deadly.
I will do.
Oh, I think they look class. They look class. Like they're so odd looking, but that's what's nice about them, I think. Because if you see a shark or certain fish, there's some fishes, you know what I mean? Some of them are unbelievable to look at, like, but hammerheads are class looking. The eyes out like, oh, here, like, oh, stop. I
love them.
I thought when I was a kid and I must have seen a cartoon and I thought they were just made up by the person who drew the cartoon until I saw like a documentary like years later and I was like, that's mad looking, and then I realized it was a hammerhead shark. There you go. They are really cool. Ciara, where can people find you? That's something I didn't say on the last one. Where can people find you?
So I am on Facebook, Transformed Health and Fitness by Ciara Healion. If you just put in Ciara Healion, you'll find me because there's only one Ciara Healion on Facebook. There's only one. I'm on Instagram. I've only got an Instagram the last couple of months during COVID. So I have very small following, but you can find me on Instagram, Transformed Health and Fitness. And I have a website, transformed.ie. You can find me there as well.
Do you have a Transformed Instagram account?
Yeah.
Oh, so I think I'm on your personal one then, maybe.
Most people, I have way more followers on my personal one. I think people follow me on my personal one, but I actually have the Transformed. But the Transformed one's only a little baby that's started.
I'll follow. I'll follow. I didn't know it was there, to be honest. So that's good. I'll follow.
Thank you.
You have to follow back though.
I know I will. I feel like we've spent all day together now.
We literally have spent all day together. Ciara, it's I said this before and I'll say it again. It's like deja vu. I really love chatting to you. It was a great pleasure, and I can't say enough for you to within a half an hour of me, realizing it didn't work, that you were stepping up again, especially after you had a cup of tea like myself. Thank you very much for coming on again.
You are more than welcome. It's an absolute pleasure, and thank you for asking me to come on.
Of course, yeah, no, it was brilliant, and I feel like such an idiot, you know that. But
I really hope this one works. I hope.
If this one doesn't work, I'm gonna have to buy all new equipment because I'm throwing it out the window that's over there. It's gone.
Breathing helps with stress.
I think I'm gonna have to do a lot of. I'm gonna need an oxygen tank to get through this amount of stress. Hold on for me 1 second, all right, Ciara. I will get through this. Thank you very much to John for the technical nous. I wish he was here earlier on. Thanks to my mother, my father, my grandfather, to Jer and to Calvin. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you would. It's the Wheatley, as is on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And on the podcast platform, Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts, Anchor, and there's a couple more there as well. Thanks again, Ciara. I appreciate it.
You're more than...
Thank you to everyone for listening. Let's hope this one works. So we'll chat to you all next week. Take care. Bye.